All right, so we'll go ahead and do the next story car here in guide video number 12 now. This is story car number 11, somewhere up there. The 2009 Royale Town with Cheese. So let's go ahead and read this story order. Good morning. We need an expert opinion. I don't know what happened. I was planning a family vacation for next week. I started the car yesterday and I was trying to turn on the lights and there was nothing. I thought maybe the lights were fried, but as it turned out, that wasn't the problem. Soon after, my car wasn't reacting to the key at all. I don't know what happened. Please check what's the problem. It would be good if the car was fit for a longer trip and if it was more reliable. At least they marketed it as such. I'm almost sure that all these indicator lights were lighting up properly because they're supposed to light up, right? Change the oil, drain and refill with new, and there'll be other tasks. I think every story car we have done so far has had an oil change as part of it. So all of you should have gotten the oil change system down. All right, so just to be nice, it's a customer car. We're going to go ahead and just wash it, and that's where we'll start our diagnostics. So let's just wash on the car for them, you know? We're a good mechanics shop, right? I mean, this isn't like Mad Mutt's shop. I mean, we're gonna be nice. All right, so we got the interior washed up for the customer here too. We're gonna look at the car status. So we have a belt tensioner and a serpentine belt that's already been identified for us. And we have 2 pages of unidentified parts. Not much. Oh, and what was the other task? I missed on that. Change the brake fluid, change the coolant, change power steering, and refill washer fluid. So we're just eyeballing this engine here. That engine head looks terrible. I have a suspicion we might be doing an engine head. But let's go ahead and fill some washer fluid. Start there, okay. And then we'll go to our additional tools and drain. Drain the coolant. We will drain the brake fluid, maybe. And drain the power steering fluid. Alright. And then we'll go to part unmount, unmount the caps. Put in new coolant. Coolant is in. Put in new power steering fluid. Alright. And brake fluid. Alright, so the fluids are addressed. We can go straight to your other tasks. They're all green checks boxed. Belt tensioner and serpentine belt. Let's go to our onboard diagnostic scanner. And it's fun to just watch this scanning. 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80, 90, 100. All right. So we have 3 spark plugs that are bad. Okay. Is this a 3-cylinder engine? Yeah, it's an inline 3 dual overhead cam. Okay, so that's why there's only 3 spark plugs that are bad. Compression test can't start because, you know, we have 3 bad spark plugs. Electronic multimeter, run this test. I did see a 0.11, a 0.2, 0.13, 0.5. So 4 bad parts on the electronic multimeter. 0.8. So 2, 5, so 4 bad parts. So some fuses again, the alternator and the medium fuse. Okay. Additional tools, check on the tires. 94% tire, 93% tire, 93, and a 98. So the tires are fine. Okay. And the fuel system, because it won't start, we can't check on that. Oil filter looks bad. That's the bad alternator. Which actually, we could just pull that right here. It doesn't have a belt. So, we're gonna need a belt. That'll be something we gotta purchase. Put on the new alternator. Okay, alternator's fixed. Well, we can go ahead and buy the belt, I suppose. Serpentine belt. And then that'll be an idler roller pulley probably. Or a belt tensioner. And while we are in the tablet, we know we need some spark plugs. 3. And ignition coils. 3. And that's just because you know where the parts are in the shop. You can pop right into there. That's fine. Alright, where are the spark plugs on this bad boy? Right there below the fuel rail. So, can I pull that fuel rail? Part unmount, yep. And then we can get to the ignition coils. And the 3 spark plugs. Now I'm betting this engine head is bad. So before we go ahead and replace that, let's escape out. Let's go to examine mode. And I'm just going to examine the engine. So I'm just going to have the mechanic place his eyes on things, see what else is going wrong here. And the way you do that, you just click down, hold down your left mouse key. I do it right on the top of the engine, and the mechanic will look at all the parts and the engine that he can. We can't look at the head. That's too bad, even though you can clearly see it. So let's just go ahead and mount up the new spark plugs. And the reason I'm doing this is so that we can run the diagnostic tools like the compression tester, and then probably find out that this engine head is junk. Why did I buy 6 ignition coils? Oh, the ignition coils were not bad? Well, that's stupid of me. Well, we gave this guy some nice ignition coils. Great. Didn't have to buy those. Fuel rail is bad. So I'm going to buy a fuel rail at least. Was that on our parts list, or did we just give him a free fuel rail too? No, it was. Okay. Cam gear. It's going to be bad. So we're going to have to pull the timing chain on that side anyway. Let's address the fuses. So if we go into here to examine mode, excuse me, and you kind of see it's that relay here. It's at the second and third or first and second fuse, and then that smaller relay. So we pop in here, it was this fuse, this relay. I'm blanking on it. Was it both? Just that one relay. Alright, pull that relay. Go to our inventory. Irritated we didn't have to buy those, but that's fine. Alright. I think I just added too many things to our shopping list. That's okay. Go to the electronics shop, that's where fuses are at, and relays. Okay, we should be able to start the car now, which means we can run our diagnostic tools, I believe. I just did the OBD scan already, so let's do a compression test. Okay, we can do a compression test. It's got 10 pounds of pressure on the compression tester, so this might test out okay. Camshaft and a piston is bad, so it did not test out okay. Cam gear, camshaft, and one piston. Okay. Let's do our fuel pressure test. I'm pretty sure this head's going to be bad. We're going to have to pull the head anyway because we got to take a piston out. But, okay, the fuel system is fine. Let's move this to the lift. Now we could pull the motor and do the motor on the engine stand. I like doing that. I'm not sure if we'll do that or not. We'll think. We'll see how this goes first. Let's get it up in the air. This to lifter A. Drain the oil. Oil's drained. Move the drain out of the way. Pop up here and let's see. Take the oil filter off. See if I can pull the oil pan. Probably not because well, why can you not pull the oil pan? Because of the trans. So we got to pull the trans anyway. I already took that exhaust piece off. Maybe we are going to pull the motor out. What the hell? Pop the wheels. Now some of these smaller engines, these 3 and 4 cylinder engines, you can't access the starter underneath the car. Let's just double check on this. See if it'll let me pull the starter here. Okay, it does. A 4 cylinder on the last car wouldn't allow us to do that. Which is just irritating. The wheels are off. Take off the drive shafts. Huh. The brake pad looks bad. Well, if it looks bad, just pull it and test it. Our status, brake pad. Well, there you go. Already here, taking it off, so you know what I'm going to do to this nice customer? I'm going to lathe his brake. Because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm nice. Is the brake pad on this side okay? Nah, this one's bad too. That is a bad brake pad. And we'll... Yep, both front brake pads were bad. I'll pull that drive shaft. This is probably a little excessive, but it doesn't cost us anything to lathe their disc brakes, so just think that's a nice thing to do. Doing the brake pads, might as well turn the rotors, right? Alright, let's pull the trans, and the sole reason for pulling the transmission is so that I can take the engine out of the car and we'll work on the engine over on the engine stand. I'll drop that. Go grab our cherry picker. Move that to lift. Pull the engine out. Engine's out. I hear the brake lathe is done. Take the brake lathe off. We have those done. Let's mount this engine. So you just click on the engine stand, install engine on the stand. It'll put the engine on that you were working with. All right, so we have to take off the engine head to get to the piston. So first thing we'll take off is the intake manifold, but the throttle sat on the front of that, so I pulled the throttle first. See those 3 bolts? There it is. That's off. I don't remember this engine very well. There's the bad camshaft. There's a good camshaft. We're going to have to take the cam gear off, so we're going to have to pull the timing cover, which means belt tensioner's coming off, this pulley's coming off, crankshaft pulley's coming off, and we can pull the timing cover. There's the bad camshaft bearing. Oh, let's get that pulley first. Always look for the pulley that's outside of the belt. That's going to be the pulley you got to pull first. Then you can take the belt, typically. So if you can click on the belt, you'll be able to take it. Cam gear. Now to get that camshaft off, there's some bearing caps we have to take off. We'll get all those off. Can I take the camshaft off now? Can. Okay. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that head's going to be bad, but we have to pull it. And the reason we have to pull the head and this exhaust manifold on the other side is we have to take pistons off because we know we have one bad piston. So to get down to that one bad piston, you're going to have to pull all of this. We'll also have to take the oil pan off to take the rod cap off. It's holding that piston in. I remember it was the, as I'm looking at it this way, it's the right camshaft was fine. So the one we're replacing is the left camshaft. I'll pull the fuel rail. The 100% injection coils that we put on that I did not have to replace. Okay. Can I pull the head now? Yep. 3 bolts, maybe? Yep, just 3. Okay, the head's off. And just for kicks, I'm going to go over to the car, check the car status, engine head. Told you that head looked bad. 3 parts still not discovered. Okay, which piston is bad? So as you look at this, little silver, black carboned shit piston. So it's second piston's bad. Let's rotate the engine. Let's get the engine oil pan off. I can't pull the oil pan right now because there's an idler roller pulley in my way. Can I pull the oil pan now? Yep. Okay, oil pan's off. Rod cap there looks fine. Crankshaft bearings look fine. Crankshaft bearing there looks okay. Alright, so let's pull this piston. Alright, and then I'm going to look at the back. Let's just pull these just to make sure these look fine. I think they were okay. Flywheel looks good. Just want to pull the clutch pressure plate and take a peek at the clutch plate. Yeah, it looks fine. Let's put those back in place. Those aren't going to be the parts we got to replace. And you'll get a gestalt for this where you actually start looking at parts and say, yep, that part's fine, that part's fine. This is not fine. Alright. I don't think there was anything else here that I was going to mess with. Yeah, that piston rod cap looks fine. Crankshaft bearing looks fine. Alright. Head over to our repair bench. See if there's any of those parts that we pulled that we want to repair. Nope. Those are all good parts. Alright, so let's sort by condition. Crappiest ones at the top. Add these crappy parts to our shopping list. Fuses we already did, right? Yeah, we did. So I just sell the fuses. Now I forgot what I just did. What did I add to our shopping list? Let's just clear the list and start over. And we don't have to buy new rings. That's interesting. Cam gear. Camshaft. Piston with a connecting rod. Engine head. 2 brake pads. And an oil filter. Alright, let's go over here and let's mount these parts up. Piston. I'm just using the old rings and the old rod cap. Pop on the oil pan. Put on the idler roller. New oil filter. Then I'm going to rotate the engine. To access that, you just right click. Put on the new engine head. Slap down the 6 bolts holding the head to the engine block. Okay, we can put the lesser camshaft on the right and the new camshaft on the left. Pop in piston or spark plugs. Ignition coils. And then the camshaft caps. Camshaft caps on this side. Camshaft cap. I think I missed 2. I did. Camshaft caps are on. Let's get the new cam gear, the 100% one with the 100% piston or camshaft, 90%. Timing belt, idler roller. Put on the timing cover. Okay. Crankshaft pulley. Another idler roller. Put on that serpentine belt that we had purchased. And belt tensioner. And on the top, engine head cover. Fuel rail, which is new. Exhaust manifold. Okay, intake manifold. And the throttle. I think we have all the engine components back on. So then we escape out, click on the bar, take engine off stand, head over here to our engine hoist and pop the engine in the compartment, go back, go ahead and fill with oil. All right, oil's filled. Pop her up in the air. And start reassembly of the brakes and the transmission. gearbox. Pop on the starter. Drive shaft. Drive axle. The wheel on this side. Okay. Put that front exhaust section back on. Drive axle on this side. The vented disc brake. Brake pad. Brake caliper. And then I can put on the wheel. Alright, car status. We're doing good except for 3 parts that we have not yet discovered. So what can we do to discover those parts? Well, we know the front brakes are bad. So let's just eyeball that. That brake pad looks terrible. You see the rust on it? I'm just going to pull this wheel real quick. Take off this caliper. Look at this brake pad. Pull it. Status, brake pads. Right there. And actually we already had an extra brake pad from a previous job when we bought too many. So I'll just put that on. Easy peasy. That's the benefit of having parts in your inventory. You can do jobs like this much faster of just having a supply of parts on your mechanic. Let's pop to this side. Same issue. I think this brake pad is bad. So I'm going to pull this wheel. Now we didn't go super nice to this guy and turn his rotors for him in the back, but hey, we did it in the front for free. Alright, we need a brake pad, right? Let's just check the car status. Yep. Go to our tablet, clear the search, brakes, brake pad. Part mount, put on the new brake pad and caliper, and put on the wheel. Alright, car status. We just have one part we have yet to identify. So another quick way to identify parts that are bad, kind of just eyeball parts looking for a lot of rust. I'm looking at these suspension parts for just excessive rust on the suspension system. This looks fine. You can kind of look at the rubber bushings. That's a common one in these story orders. Doesn't look terrible. Okay, the rear suspension looks fine. Let's go to the front. Same things here. Things look okay-ish. Alright, so I'm going to go to examine mode and just start examining the suspension systems here for any parts that we might not have properly looked at. That might give us an answer. It might not. Okay, that's parts all look good. Like the exhaust. That looks fine. Now the other thing that's advantageous of examine mode is that as you're examining, you're also getting the color for all the parts so you can know which parts you have yet to identify. So you can see like the bushings back here we haven't looked at. And in fact, examine mode doesn't identify bushings. So we're kind of up a creek there, but that's fine. things on this side. You get experience for doing this too, so it's not awful time wasted here doing this. All right, so most parts are green. Everything here seems okay. So just for fun, let's drop the car here. Let's move it to the, or let's right click over here. Let's go to the test track. We'll take the customer's car to the test track. Because I still think it's going to be brake or suspension parts that are screwed up here. So let's take it for a quick drive. Boy, this thing is slow. That's okay. Three cylinders do not have a lot of power, is what you're saying. And I'm also driving with WASD, which is not the easiest way to drive. Oftentimes, if I'm really driving, I'll use my Xbox controller. Stop on the red. Okay. That identify a part for us. That did. We got an answer. If not, we have to do some other work. Okay, all the bushings are fine. Okay. Let's go back into examine mode. We haven't identified the air filter box. Clips. Was that okay? Air filter. There it was. We forgot to examine the air box. So to get to this air filter, there's a clip and a clip. And on this side, clip and a clip. Take off the cap. There's a dirty air filter. Add that to our parts list. Go to the car parts shop, buy the air filter. Close that. Mount her up. Nice new air filter. Put on your ever important clips. All right. Now go to car status. Hey, we figured it all out. All right. 4,700 bucks. We're moving up, and we got a case. So we did 3-4 last time, and we got money and experience. I'm looking for another case, so let's do 1 and 2. Money and a case. Okay. So this is my kind of trick. Number 2 was a case. So we have a bonus case. The next case, I'm going to open 3 and 4, and I think 4 is going to be a case. Let's see if we're right. 3, 4. Nope. Okay, it failed on me on this time, but if you go back a few videos, that tends to work. So when you find something you were looking for, like an extra bonus case, go 2 over. It tends to be right. Not all the time, but you can get a string of cases that way sometimes. New barn map. Bunch of parts that we can sell. Save this up. And we have 6 available skill points to spend. So let's get strong arms. It's 4 for these, so we're just going to hang on to our skill points for now. Because this will be our next thing that we level up. Alright, so this is story car 10 done on guide 11. Next one is the Edgewood Hellcat. I like that car. Other task. Alright, so we will look at this one second. Let's see if there's any orders here that have a bonus. This one had a bonus to XP. Transmission is noisy and fixed gear body panels. Let's take this. And I'll show you why. So Transmission's noisy, non-responsive. These are easy things to fix, and I'll show you what I'm saying. Body panels, front right fender. Let's pull that. Front right fender. The left headlight, left tail light, left headlight, left tail light, headlight, tail light, left rear left door, rear right door. So this door, and the windshield. Now, some of these panels, windows you can't repair, but we invested in our renovator, so now we can fix body panels. So if we pop over here to our shop, you can click on this bench to repair body panels. You can click on this to repair body panels, this to repair body panels. Doesn't matter which tool you click on. You just click on a tool. So those 3 body panels we took off, we can repair. So way cheaper to repair this. It just pulls up this mini game. Stop in the green bars and you'll repair the part. And it's way cheaper to have done that than buying those panels. Now the windshield, the window, and the tail lights and lights are not repairable parts, which is fine. We'll just buy those. So go to our bodywork shop. There's the Mayan windshield, the right door window, left door window. I don't even think we had to replace those. This is probably excessive. That's fine. And the headlight. We'll go back to this customer's car. Go to assemble mode. Put on the new windshield. Nice fender. New headlamp. Rear door window, which I don't think we had to replace those, but we did. It's fine. Tail light. Right door, and the new door window for the customer. So if we go to our car status, left tail light. Oh, I put on the wrong tail light. Holy cow. Assemble, make sure you select the 100% one. Okay, body panels are fixed. Now we just have to deal with this transmission. So transmissions are when you don't really have to diagnose them when you see transmission problem. There's only, if you look at the car store, right? Transmission, which is this box here. There's all the different gearboxes and drive shafts, but as far as components of the transmission, you have a clutch plate, clutch pressure plate, a clutch release bearing, a flywheel, some type of transmission, and a drive shaft. So it's going to be one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. That's what's going to be broken. So it's generally an easy fix and pretty quick. And we have that 25% chance of lucky giving us a bonus case. So it's useful to take these jobs, especially looking for the jobs that have bonus, either bonus to experience, so you're going to get more experience for doing this, or bonus to money. Those would be the ones that I would look at. When you're just looking for cases, I look for the jobs that are easy, like repair body panels, change the fluids, something that only you have 1 or 2 things to do. Then you have a 25% chance to get a case, and those cases are our best source of getting scrap, which scrap I use later to augment performance parts. Very useful. So pop the wheels so we can get the drive shaft or the drive shafts off. This is a 4-wheel drive car, so we have a front drive shaft and a rear drive shaft we have to address. Remember, 4 bolts on these drive shafts. Sometimes you're taking them off way far away from where you started. Okay, now we can pull the trans. We just have to get the transfer case here. Well, the starter out. Excuse me. Now, this is one of the goofy 4-cylinders where you can't access the starter from underneath the car. You have to be in the engine bay. That's silly. All right, let's pull the starter. Starter's out. All right. Pop her back up in the air. And we can click on the trans and remove the transmission. Rusted bolt. Where is the other bolt? There it is. Rusted. And you can see trans was all crap. That clutch bearing was crap. The clutch pressure plate here looks fine. Clutch plate looks okay. The flywheel looks like shit. So if we pop in here, flywheel, gearbox, clutch release bearing, gearbox. So we need, really those three parts have to be replaced or repaired. Looking at them, flywheel, gearbox, clutch release bearing. They're in the red. We can't repair red parts, so it's not even worth looking at. Go pop up here, buy a flywheel, clutch release bearing, and the gearbox. Close, close, close. Part mount, new flywheel, the old clutch plate, the old clutch pressure plate. Clutch release bearing, the new transmission. 3 bolts there, a bolt there, and a bolt there. Then we can put the drive shafts back on. Drive axles. Top wheel here. Well, I guess we'll do the rear drive shaft since I clicked that. 4 bolts in the front. 4 bolts in the back. Then we click on the wheel. Mount the wheel up. Alright, put this one on this side. And the other rim. Alright, we should be done. Car status. Everything's good. Finish order. Oh. Now see, I forgot the starter, but just as an example, you can't finish a car if you've not properly repaired it. So you can't just like half-ass a job, give it to a customer, and screw them. The game won't let you do that. So, plus I guess customer couldn't drive away without the starter in the car. Car status, $7,300 for this, and we got some bonus experience. Did we get a case? And we got a case. We hit lucky. All right. So let's open that case. We did 1 and 2 last time. Let's do 4 and 5. Hey, we got more experience, leveled up, and $800. That was worth it. All these parts we're just going to sell. Did we get... We have 8 available skill points, so we can get fast hands and strong arms. So we are leveling up really good here. We have $3,800. I think it's going to be worth investing the 10K now into test path, just knowing there is going to be a customer. I wish I could remember the number. There is a story car in the future here that we're going to have to align the tires. The test path is here, just beside your paint shop. Up in here. Here's your test path. So you have a tester that you can run the car through. It tests the brakes. It shakes the car to test the suspension. This is your alignment tool and your light alignment tool. Very cool use. Very cool tool. Very useful. So this is where we're going to end guide video here. As a preview, The Edgewood Hellcat is next. We'll discuss that here momentarily, but hopefully, I'll do a quick save. You all enjoyed this video, and we will be back in the next guide.